Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the week. We're two lifelong friends and one friend who loves Naruto get together to talk about the latest and greatest in gaming news.
No.
Game Bites, the greatest gaming show ever. Alex, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good, and I like that even though you make fun of me for liking Dragon Ball Z, you've never actually pronounced the name of that other show correctly.
Naruto is the game. You got Naruto all behind you. For those watching, so let me step back.
You got the vowels all mixed up.
Let me step back. You guys can watch us on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Twitter, even if that's your fancy. And we'll also have the podcast later on Apple and Spotify and everywhere else. But back to your accusation. You're telling me I can't say Naruto, right?
Yeah, it's Naruto. You got two A's in there.
No, it's Naruto, bruh.
No.
It's Naruto.
No, it's not.
No. I say it that way because I have a lot of fans and friends who are like aggravated.
You're just trying to anger everyone. That's
Yeah. I come and I say, that really horrible anime with Goku named Naruto, and people were like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, it's the one with Harry Potter."
That deck of cards that he carries around that summons Digimon.
Yeah, it's the one with Harry Potter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, for those watching us live or watching the VOD on YouTube, you'll see that Alex here, my great co-host, has a myriad of stickers of various Naruto characters.
These are just, the words are razor blades. Everything's wrong. Nothing is fact.
Well, you should be able to handle it since you spent like 24 hours at an anime dubstep concert this weekend, right?
Are you upset that I'm wearing a red shirt today? Is that what this is? Or is this a red dress? Is that what it is to you? Is everything just backwards to you?
It's blue. What are you talking about?
How was your week?
I mean, my week was good. I'm trying to remember it. You know what, though? Taking a step back and, level setting, very, very sad news received this week. And we'll talk more about that, I think, near the end of the show. But I can tell you for a fact, someone who enjoyed our weekly gatherings, and a very dear friend of mine passed away unexpectedly. So he was only 26, super young. His name was Hunter Garrett. He was known as Eugene Makes Coffee here in the chat, here in the community. Knew him for over a year and a half, and he was supposed to come up last weekend and then got sick and then passed away suddenly. I told you about that. We'll talk more about it. Like I said, Hunter was the best of us, is what his wife told me, and I agree completely. But besides all of that sad news and grieving, you know what? Every day's a gift, and I'm grateful for that. But I didn't get to spend no fancy time in no anime dubstep concert like you for 24 hours. It was what?
It was a combined 18 hours in 2 days.
18 hours in 2 days. I was wrong. I was wrong by 6 hours, chat. Yeah. But am I right that it was dubstep?
No.
What?
God, I know you're intentionally doing this. No, it's progressive house.
Progressive house. Okay. So that's like Rush, but house music.
Yeah, it's just like country music, but instead it's progressive house music.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as hip hop.
I did wonder why there's the dub in dubstep. Like, why is that dubstep? Is there like a certain type of rhythm every dubstep's? I mean, they all have the same drop, to be honest.
As you said that, I was thinking, like, what other genres of music are that explicit, but, like, in what they are, but, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, techno gives you, like, an idea of what it is, and electronic music, and electronic dance music, and country music, hip-hop, R&B, like, it all implies what it is, drum and bass. But, yeah, dubstep, I don't know. It should just be called glitchy mess. Or like, oops, I dropped all my sound materials on the ground and I'm trying to clean them back up and I'm going to record it while I do it. That's dubstep.
It's like that one Kingdom Hearts song that Skrillex did. That was dubstep. He's dubstep, right?
It's not Sanctuary. I think it was for the third one.
Yeah, it's the one about like no fear, I'm going to cry, or Kingdom Hearts makes me cry, or
I'm gonna face my fear.
That's it.
Yeah.
Skrillex did that.
Utaru Hikaru. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know why it's called dubstep.
Yeah, well, maybe you could figure that out. That's your mission for the week. If anyone in chat here in the community is able to figure that out for us, Alex will send you a bushel of bananas.
Actually, I do have a couple of those lying around.
All right, Donkey Kong. But no, I think getting focused on what we had this week, there was a lot of interesting events. So I'm going to do a quick summary. On Thursday evening, we had the Summer Game Fest hosted by Jeff Keighley, which I'll just say this. For some reason, Jeff Keighley gets like a lot of heat. I don't necessarily get it. Besides, my suspicion is people might be slightly just jealous because like he was just a guy that was a game fan that worked in media and decided to make this event his own and made it happen with his own connections. And now E3's kind of gone and Summer Game Fest is here. So Jeff Keighley put on a really good show. We'll talk about what was all revealed in that show. And then just earlier today, we had the Xbox Bethesda Showcase, which Bethesda Showcase being really the Starfield Direct at the end. There was like an hour-long Direct just dedicated to Starfield, which I will also lead with this, which I told you. If my excitement for Starfield was at a, what I would call a microwavable nuke-warm 3 or 4, it is now an 11. And I didn't think there was a way to make that game become anything more for me. But once they showed the actual gameplay about what it is, it just really got me excited. And I think, well, again, we'll talk about it, but I actually think if the game executes on what they say it's going to do, right? That's always the question. It might not do. It's Bethesda, though, so you know it's going to have some jank. Always.
Always.
If the game executes on what it says it's going to do, I actually think it could be a system seller for Xbox. Where like Final Fantasy 16 is a system seller for PlayStation. Where I'm like, I'm buying that because I can only play it there. I think people who want a Starfield type game will buy a Series S just to play Starfield on release, that's the lower tier $299 system for Xbox. So,
Okay.
anyways, that's it. But besides your music festival, I mean, how was your week? I mean, did anything special happen for you?
Are you trying to pull that out of me?
No, I wouldn't dare do that. I'm just asking you to freaking fill in some space and time before we get into the news.
Am I allowed to say that?
You can say that if you want. That's your call. That's all private business.
Yeah, well, Victor knows now because I told him at one of the concerts, so I'm allowed to say it. He was the only one that I was like cautious to say it.
Wait. You didn't tell Victor? You're like closer friends with Victor than me.
Well, I told him first. That's why.
You told
no, but I told you because it was like they weren't. I didn't eat that. I told you because it was like you. No, I can't tell you why I told you because you called me. But no. Just to go past that. Joy and I found out we're having a baby on Thursday. I shaved my beard.
That's why you shaved your beard.
Yeah,
oh, congratulations!
I had to lose the hair.
Yeah,
we saw a little heartbeat on the ultrasound and everything, and that was Thursday, like the day before the regularly scheduled pro podcast. So January 20th. I'm not going to be able to. I don't know what day that is, but I might be late for the podcast.
Well, don't worry. We're actually investing in some. Well, first off, congratulations. That's wonderful news. I'm so. You have no idea how excited I am. Grant and I were celebrating. I think I punched a dog, but we're happy.
He looked at you. He did.
Yeah, someone got hit, but no, we're actually investing in some. I have the microphones right here. I'll send them out to you. But some mobile streaming technology that will allow you to have the microphone and just use your phone in the delivery room if needed to do game bites.
There you go. Just looking ahead. You got 6 months to get that working.
Yeah, because we're committed. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you that's awesome. Tell Joy I said congratulations in that. Since I'm pretty sure you conceived the child in my house, you can also name the child after me.
I wasn't going to say that, but that is exactly where it happened, everybody. You heard it here. I was visiting. It happened the weekend I went to Pittsburgh, and the night I was at Mark's house.
I am happy that blessings came through the Liberto Casa. So
it was a nice. It was a good guest room.
It was a nice. There was.
I got to see Plutarch again for the first time in 5 years, and I just.
That's what did it. That's what did it. All your stress just evacuated once you saw Plutarch. Oh, that's hilarious.
So did his bladder when he saw me.
Well, that's classic Plutarch. He pees on you all the time. But yeah, I mean, I'm glad our guest room was put to use. I would say, you had used the guest room to bring another guest into the world, which is a miracle, and I'm so excited for you guys.
It's gonna be funny. Fans of the podcast will be like, "So this is Game Bites history. This room right here." They'll be like, "Yes, it's pretty quaint. The window, you can move blinds. The shower's great. Water pressure. But yeah,
Dude,
that's where it happened.
how good is that water pressure, by the way?
The best shower I've ever had in my life. Compact, keeps all the heat in there. The water. I was done in like 65 seconds. I was like, "What do I do for the rest of the time?" Like, this is actually like. I usually like take showers and I'm like, all right, water pressure. All right, I'm gonna get my back warm. I'll get my chest. Well, I'm just gonna get my back warm again. I'm gonna get my legs warm. And it's like 5 minutes, and I'm like, all right, I'll start washing now. Now that I'm warm, that thing 65 seconds, and I was like, what do I do now? Like, I'm not supposed to be in here for another 4 minutes. It was a great shower.
I've never used it.
Baby.
I've never used it. I've never
Oh,
used that.
That's really good there.
Yeah, I've never even used that bathroom. One of these days, I'll have to do a little journey and just kind of use every bathroom in the house.
Be careful. There are some fertility deities in there.
Interesting. Anyways, okay, so that's awesome news. I'm very excited for you. You guys are going on a joyous adventure, and your life will be forever changed. And again, the child will be named Mark. You heard it here first. Alex said that. You can go back 2 minutes. It's gonna be even if it's a girl, Marshall. That works. Marshall. It's French.
Marky with an I or something. I don't know.
I only tune in for the step by step of dudes taking a bath. Best show on the internet. Yeah, we spent the last 10 minutes of this show talking about baths. Yeah, and well, Alex is giving me good notes in the hair thing. So yeah. Anyways, when does the Game Bites shower water go on sale? January 20th. Whenever Alex has a child he has to take care of, because we know I'm not paying him. Yeah. All right, this is kind of getting.
That'll help with the population decline for sure.
Yes. Oh, geez. Anyways, so let's pause. Let's pause. And let's talk about the Summer Games Fest with Jeff Keighley. Again, it was a good show, and I say that in part because E3 has like a certain flair to it, right? You remember when Keanu Reeves showed up? You remember all the big announcements all kind of happening around those like 3-4 days? There was a lot of excitement and buzz historically with E3 season. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
And while the PlayStation Showcase was good, I want to be clear because I want to lay this out. And my assumption is I think you agree with my theory, but you might not. I think PlayStation Showcase was good. I think they don't have as much to prove. I think they're kind of in this strong strength position. And they're just kind of say, hey, we have some new hardware. We have some new games. Spider-Man 2 and Final Fantasy 16. Peace. Like, oh, okay. That's great. What surprised me, and this is kind of getting a little bit ahead of myself, is that at the Summer Games Fest, we actually got a pretty big game announced that I also believe is a PlayStation exclusive. So like that surprised me, at least temporarily. That surprised me that Sony was just like, yeah, you can take it. You can take it, Jeff. So again, that game was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That was how the show ended, which was pretty awesome.
That's my most anticipated.
That's your most anticipated. So that's winter 2024, I believe.
That's not my most anticipated anymore. I thought it was 23. I thought it was this fall.
Actually, what if that comes out January 20th, man? You could be on. You're gonna get paternity leave, right? That look, you're like
the midwife to the house.
do I gotta go to the hospital or?
Yeah, I was like, what do you think?
Oh man, that's hilarious. Yeah, so that was how the show ended, and it was done really well because at some point halfway through the show, Jeff started talking about Final Fantasy, and everyone was just like, "Oh!" And he's like, "No." And then he finished his sentence, and it was a Final Fantasy 16 talking point. And it was just kind of this, it was funny, right? It was good communication there. So it ended with that, which I thought was really one of the highlights of it. But it honestly had a lot of good beats. I do want to spend some time talking about what I think is the most controversial game I've ever seen come out of one of these things. And that's Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown.
Oh, yeah.
So we've talked about it a bit. and I'll lead with this. I've never had a YouTube video downvoted more or even as quick. Like
Downloaded or downvoted?
Downvoted. Like you would think I kicked 50 children in this video.
Well, shame on you.
I didn't. I watched a video of Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown.
I meant shame on you for doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'll say is this: the general commentary is we wanted the 3D version of the game we got in the PS2 GameCube era, right? And instead we got a throwback to what the game originally was, being a 2D side scroller. That's some of the disappointment around this game we've talked about. Some of the additional disappointment that I've read that you haven't mentioned, but like the most disappointment based on some polls online by some websites, is the fact that there was hip hop music in the song. Like apparently,
yeah, it's very tone deaf, it seems.
Yeah, which I mean, one of the other Prince of Persia games back in the day also had Godsmack in it, so there was always like weird choice of music, like Disturbed and Godsmack in a Prince of Persia game. So that was a part of it.
It's the same thing that happened when like. And it was actually in the game. It wasn't like a bug in the demo when Fred Durst, Limp Bizkit, was in the Strangers of Paradise Final Fantasy game. Like he just beats the opening boss, and then he's like chaos, and then puts on Limp Bizkit and walks away.
Are you serious? That's in the game?
That was in the demo, and everyone's like, "Is this a joke? Like, did someone sneak this in?" But then when I played Strangers of Paradise, it's actually part of the game. He puts on some AirPods pretty much and plays Limp Bizkit too loud and walks away.
That's kind of awesome to me.
First half hour of the game.
So the tone of the music, people disappointed in the visuals.
Yeah,
that's one of it. But here's one thing I just want to contribute to the conversation that I think is extremely important. It's being made by the team that brought us Rayman Legends. And I don't know if you ever played Rayman Legends. I know you saw me play it, but Rayman Legends is perhaps one of the best platformers of all time.
Yeah, I did play it. It was a free game one of the months on PlayStation.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty solid platformer.
So I think a lot of this is expectation and confusion. But I do think if you're telling me we have a game made by the Rayman Legends team that is a Metroidvania, that this has a chance to potentially turn some heads compared to the disappointment we're at now. That's where I'll leave it at, Alex. Let me know your thoughts about this game overall, your first reactions, all that.
My first reactions was like, man, it sucks that this is a mobile game. But then you told me it wasn't. And then I was like, it must be a Switch exclusive. And you're like, it's not. And so I was just like, what happened? What happened to the franchise? You know, like I just, things usually take a trajectory and just keep getting better. Unless, Diablo Immortal comes out as a mobile only, just like, hey, let's get some other platforms going here. That's what I thought it was, just like a quick little 1 year off before we make another good game. But I don't know. I see people that are upset and just I forget which game it was, but there's this game that has like almost one of the PS2 games for Prince of Persia. I don't think it was Sands of Time, but it had like almost like anime or Borderlands outline. It looked cartoonish, but it looked better than this game that I just saw advertised last week. Yeah. But it was a game that came out on the PS2 years ago. It looks better.
Yeah.
But you're right. Gameplay will always trump, horrible game design, I guess, but not game design, art direction.
Yeah. I got you.
It's a good platformer. People will latch onto it.
Yeah, and I think the game's not finished yet, right? I mean,
they never are until a month after release. So
nowadays, especially with something coming from Ubisoft. But I'll tell you this, typically one of the last things to truly get polished in a game before it comes out are the arts, like the art, the visuals, all that stuff. That's something that you tend to like. That's one of the final things. So I'm not saying we're going to see something completely different. I am saying if that's the biggest drawback, I would expect to see some improvements from what you saw now, especially depending on what console you're playing on. But if you're telling me this is a 60 frame per second consistent game on Switch, PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and it's got good combat and it's a good Metroidvania, I mean, that's the irony. It's like, oh, we wanted a 3D game, which I get. Part of me thinks they're working on one simultaneously, just like they have 17 Assassin's Creeds coming out at the same time. Pretty soon, Creed 4 is just going to be a freaking Assassin's Creed game. Yeah.
They're going less this year. Okay.
Yeah, I could see them saying, okay, we're gonna have the Rayman Legends team make a well polished game that is just top notch. Again, I'm assuming that's their hope. I'm not saying that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
And then maybe we hit them with the left hook, and that's a brand new remake of Sands of Time or something to get the appetite started for the 3D. Because when was the last time a 3D Prince of Persia game came out? It's been a while. There was a 2D remake of a.
Gotta be over 10 years.
Yeah. Most of the downvotes were between Proot and I, says Hollow and Paws. I believe it.
Well, hey, if they're gonna share the workload, then
Yeah. Thank you for that.
it's camaraderie.
So it opened with that, and I was excited, and apparently no one else was. Because again, you know me, I love Castlevania. So I love Metroidvanias. You could give me Metroid, Castlevania, any type of game like that, and I'll be happy. But
So the Forgotten Sands was 2010, and you're right, there was a remake in 2013, but either way, it was more than 10 years.
and the 2013 remake was a remake of the original game, I want to say. It was like an Xbox
The
arcade.
second game, yeah, from 1993, Shadow in the Flame.
So that, again, the series has its roots in this style. So I'm not saying that as like a haha. I'm just saying like this, to me, with that knowledge, it wasn't as earth shattering, but I did talk to some people on the comments. I engaged pretty much everyone except the most vulgar, which there were some vulgar comments. And I just said, why? What are your expectations? And they, what do you think's going on here? And they shared their thoughts. And I was like, hey, apparently they announced the Prince of Persia remake back in the PS4 days, and that's been dead. No one's seen anything. I'm like, I get that. If that was your expectation and you don't get that after all these years, Pauls, that was also me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone assaulted someone in there. It was intense. So again, we opened with that and we closed with Final Fantasy VII Remake, so I would say overall, fantastic. We got a really good look at Mortal Kombat 1, which I really didn't need, but game looks awesome. Game looks fantastic. Are you going to get that one, Alex?
I played 11 when it came out and all those DLCs, but no, I never usually get those games on release.
Okay.
Same with Street Fighter that just happened. No, it's just like I'll wait for those.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Victor will probably get it. Victor plays those fighting games. He played Mortal Kombat especially.
Well, if he gets Street Fighter 6, let me know, and he can. I'll beat him.
Okay.
Yeah, just promise him that. So that looks cool. You had Ed Boon come out, and they did a lot of early gameplay discussion, a trailer of gameplay, a very intense gameplay dive. I mean, that game is violent. It's not gotten any less violent. Mortal Kombat 1, that is. Make sure we don't do the giant bomb thing where we talk about a game and don't bring the title up.
For 10 minutes.
Yeah. The cameo fighter system looks really cool. It's basically what you had in Marvel vs. Capcom 1, where you pick your main character, then you pick your partner, and you can kind of bring him out at different moments, and they'll do some special attack or something like that to help you out.
But you can't switch between
them. You don't switch.
They're strictly assists.
They're assists. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Which, that's fine. I mean, they did the Deadly Alliance game where I feel like you switched between them, which is cool too. But, they're always trying to find something different. It's hard to make a game like this always stay fresh, Yeah,
and the way those cameos work, it's almost like they pair up the fatalities. Like it's not just you bring in Jax and he does his own fatality. It's a combo of the two. So I thought that was pretty neat implementation.
Yeah. It looks very cool. So that was exciting. We also got another trailer of Path of Exile 2, which Greg Goresny, longtime friend of ours, probably giddied his pants. He's probably very excited. He's a giddy boy. He loves this game. It's a great game. It's a free-to-play game. It's who knows when it's going to come out. It's been announced for a long time. Path of Exile 1 is still one of the highest player count games in Steam. It's what people wanted from Diablo 3. It's what Diablo 3 didn't do, and they went the Path of Exile route, and it looks very polished. But again, we have a Path of Exile dedicated kind of direct happening July 28th, so more information next month. Maybe we'll get a release date. But in the meantime, play Path of Exile 1. They talked about Street Fighter 6 assets coming to Exo Primal in July, so we're going to find more about this next week at the Capcom event. But Exo Primal, yeah, it's that Naruto. It's that Capcom is having Exoprimal come out in July. I want to say July 14th, and it's like a horde-based shooter where you fight dinosaurs. You know, people thought it might be a Dino Crisis resurgence, but it's like something happened where portals rip up in the sky and dinosaurs come out. So I don't
Do you think Turok is just dead? Do you think they're ever going to make another Turok game? I think they tried to with like on the PS3 generation, and it just didn't stick. But like,
yeah, we
it
talked.
just seems like anytime there's shooters involved with dinosaurs, Turok just never comes up anymore.
2008 there was a rebirth of Turok for PS3 and 360, and yeah, I don't think it did much. We actually had a conversation about this the other day. I think Father Trekkie in the chat brought this up, that like, yeah, it came back and died. This seems interesting, but when this Exoprimal Street Fighter 6 crossover dropped, it at first I was like, why is there a cyborg Ryu? What's going on? Is this like a Street Fighter 6 DLC that's just story based where everyone's cyborgs? But yeah, they basically have the Street Fighter 6 characters in like little mini cyborg suits. It's interesting looking.
Oh, okay.
But I'm also like, you're giving me DLC content before the game's out. Like you're leading with that. So there's the part of me that's like, I hope the game's good, because then I'll actually care about this, you know? Witchfire was also given another look. Witchfire is a first-person shooter game, I would say, set in a medieval period. It's got hardcore Doom 2016 Doom Eternal vibes, and I've seen it before. A friend of mine, Paul Areth, we talked about before, he's a game producer out there, looks really good. I think it's going to have an early access on September 20th on Epic, and then eventually we'll probably hit consoles too after it's no longer in early access. Yeah, cross between Destiny and Doom. Yeah, I could see that. That's what Captain Midnight says. I could see
a lot of magic.
Oh, it's very much. It's not as magic-y as that EA game that they gave some time to, but it's definitely it's definitely got some like magic, old school witch hunting tools, which it just
looks pretty unique though. Like, I mean, besides like the normal gameplay that we see in the world nowadays, third-person shooters, but it actually looks like an interesting art choice. And
agreed. Yeah, the first time I saw it, I was like, "This looks really cool," and it's nice to see it getting more publicity as you know it gets closer.
It's not just a bunch of space marines shooting aliens. This looks pretty unique, huh?
Which we also got to look at too. I'll mention that here in a bit. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. Recapping PlayStation announcements. Yeah, we went through that. Remnant 2 had a trailer, co-op trailer. It looked futuristic compared to Remnant 1, to be honest. So that's my lack of knowledge. I thought Remnant 1 was like, I had no idea what place setting it held. But this one looked really good. Coming from us, July 25th it comes out. So that's a game we might have to try. You know what I mean?
I will play this. Yeah.
I wonder if,
I need to finish the first one, but
I wonder if it's crossplay. Crossplay. It's crossplay and cross-platform.
Yeah, I think that was a big step with the first one. I think they did that, and people were surprised.
It supports crossplay on every platform except PlayStation.
You're joking.
No.
It's not cross.
You can play from PC to Xbox, Xbox to PC, Xbox One to Xbox Series SX to PC, back and forth. No PlayStation. Maybe if you want to play it with me, I'll have to get it on PlayStation. That's a weird choice, but we don't know why that happened too. So, here was my favorite part, besides the Final Fantasy. This made me go back into my 4th grade vibes, where I was sitting down reading Archie comics of the one and only Blue Bomber. Well, that's Mega Man. The Blue Blur. Sonic the Hedgehog is back, and he's back in 2D. Sonic Superstars looks fantastic. I'm excited. People played it. They said it plays great. It's classic Sonic with some upgrades, which is, I think, all you need, you know? Yeah, I mean,
I audibly gasped when you told me there's a new Sonic game, and I was like, "Is it side scroller?" You're like, "Yes, it is. Return to form. It looks great." And I was like, "I'm gonna pull up the trailer right now." And then Mark kept talking, and I did not listen to him. But the trailer shows, classic Sonic. I'm like, "Here we go. This is great." And then it like switches. He goes straight from pixel and crosses this the divider, and it switches to like the new graphic choice. And I audibly gasped at it. I was like, "Oh, this is so cool." And it's going to look exactly the same. But yeah, check it out. Sonic Superstars.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is that apparently it's not being made by the team at Sonic Mania, but it's being made by some people that worked originally on Sonic. The downside is that that studio is now currently the studio that brought us Balin's Wonderworld.
Oh no,
So I say that this,
no.
yeah, I say that as like a cautionary tale, but I also say that as just a ironic point of reflection, considering how well received Sonic Superstars is, and then that's the studio behind it, and then how Prince of Persia was just completely tarred and feathered, and it's got Rayman Legends team behind it. Again,
Yeah.
again, they might be great at this game, and people
No,
have.
I think you're literally fighting with expectations here. That's the only reason why. Like, it doesn't
Mhm.
matter who makes this Sonic game, as long as it looks like a Sonic game and performs well.
Yeah.
Cool, you made Balin's Wondered World, and we forgive you. I mean, a lot of those dance numbers were a little insufferable, but yeah, it's matching expectations. But Prince of Persia just didn't.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to say it, is that there are expectations, and again,
Just
this.
imagine if they announced the next Final Fantasy 16 and they dropped the gameplay reveal, and it looked like. Did you ever see that mobile version of Final Fantasy 15?
Yeah, that
Like,
came
what
out on
if
the Switch
that's what
first.
this one looked like first? You think
Ooh.
everyone would be like, "This is not what we're expecting. We don't care how good this story is going to be or anything, but this just looks like
Yeah,
awful."
it would immediately
Um,
lessen its potential initial market
oh
share.
yeah,
So, but yeah, speaking of Balin's Wonderworld, Yuji Naka, the creator of Balin's, the creator of Sonic, and the head of the studio, is going to jail. He's been indicted on fraudulent charges regarding financial institutions and moves and all that stuff. So he's not behind this game. I'll leave it at that. But yes, people that have played Sonic Superstars have said Sonic Superstars is Sonic the Hedgehog 5.
who expected the plot to thicken over that game?
That's Yuji Naka's been it's been happening for a while. Tommy says happy Saturday, friends. I say happy Sunday, Tommy. I hope you're doing well, buddy. Hope you had a
Oh
good
gosh.
weekend. It does feel like a Saturday though. So yeah, Yuji Naka's not on this, but again, people that have played this game said it is truly Sonic 5. I think Sonic 4 was a like online only release that was very much a classic Sonic, but this I'm excited about this one. Oh, you're on vacation. Nice. Then it is Saturday, bro. It is Saturday. Honkai Star Rail is coming to PlayStation 5. That's Genshin, but turn-based. That's all that I want to say about that.
Man, when you said Hawkeye, I thought like,
No,
is
no,
this
no.
a Full Metal Alchemist?
Honkai, Honkai. Unless you want your in total ad space for the next 5 months to be ruined by weebish anime stuff, then I would advise you not to search it.
I just typed it incorrectly and I did not press enter. I am going to run away and close that tab.
It's a popular game.
Crisis averted.
Yeah, it's a popular game, and it's exciting because for people that like it, it's coming to PlayStation 5. But, I have no real big care in the world for it. Lies of P got another trailer, and it also had a demo drop. So if you were looking to try that out, you could play a demo right now, Alex. I don't know if you...
Lies of P.
Yeah, that's the Pinocchio Dark Souls game.
Oh yeah, I know what it is, but that is surprising. I'm going to write this down.
September 19th is the release date. And the only person I've seen talk about it is basically like the character design's great, the atmosphere is great, everything about this looks really cool. The gameplay is definitely not From Software fine-tuned, is what I've heard. But I've not really watched it, and I haven't played it, so I can't speak to that. I'm just sharing other people's sentiments, which...
I'll have to see if people compared it to Steel Rising, because that was kind of like not From Software, but From Soft, But I want to see if people are comparing it to that.
Yeah. Check it out, though. I'd be curious to hear your thoughts next weekend or next week. But yeah, September 19th for Lies of P. If you ever wanted to play Pinocchio, but problematic. I don't know.
Murderous.
Yeah, but murderous. I mean, the original story by the Italian was very dark, and I like it. Anyways, we also got a brand new anime action RPG from creator of Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama. Alex, have you ever watched Toriyama? Have you ever watched Dragon Ball?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, yeah, you like Naruto.
Isn't that PlayStation game, like Heroes or something? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Dragon Ball Heroes. It's the only So yeah, this game looked really cool. Whenever Jeff Keighley was talking about it, he leads with like the most legendary anime artist that we could, I'm like, oh, it's got to be Kiri, and everyone's like, oh no, it's One Piece, and I'm like, no, like he's not, like that show's legendary for sure, but it's not as legendary as this guy. He's been doing all kinds of stuff. So Sandland came out, I think, in between 2000. It was a short run in the 2000s. So this is after Dragon Ball Z, before Dragon Ball Super. It looks beautiful. I mean, you saw the trailer for it, right?
Oh yeah, it's his art style is just immediately recognizable to me. Like you said it too, with all the mechs, like it's just straight out of Dragon Ball. And, like, it's his style. It's just 100%. Even the face design for the main character here.
Agreed. Yeah, so that was cool. I'm curious about that one. I'll keep my eye out on it. I feel like someone described it as, I forget. There's some interesting descriptions, but it's definitely not turn-based, which has me peaked. Oh, in the original 2000 manga, there's a panel where the main character digs out a relic from the past, and it has a PS6 in it. Okay, and along with that PS6, again, this would make sense for Toriyama to put in here as well. There's a copy of Dragon Quest 13. And so people saw this trailer and they remember that panel and they're like, that could happen. Dragon Quest 12 or 11 just came out or whatever it is. And
yeah.
So I thought that was funny. It's like, wow, that was freakishly accurate about the industry. So yeah. We also got some cool trailers about an Amazon MMO called Throne and Liberty. It's been out for a bit. It's another fantasy RPG that sees magical sword slashing folks beating up large monsters. And this is a description from Rock Paper Shotgun. It's very new world, in other words, if that tickles your armored chainmail. Again, Rock Paper Shotgun's words. There's a tech test coming soon. So that looked cool. And then it followed it up immediately with a game that I thought was the same thing called Warhaven. Warhaven is a Steam Fest demo, June 19th. But it's the same idea, but it's PvP. It looked pretty epic. So those came and went quickly. And then these next two games were pretty awesome. Alan Wake 2 got another trailer, which, I mean, you'll never play the first game because you get scared, but
little baby,
Alan Wake is basically Luigi's Mansion for adults.
Is there that much mystery and investigation in Luigi's Mansion?
There's a lot of mystery and investigation in Luigi's Mansion, but the whole premise of Luigi's Mansion is you have to hit the ghost with your flashlight to make it vulnerable for your vacuum. And in this game, you have to hit the ghost with your flashlight before you can shoot him to death.
It's an alternate reality for Nintendo.
Yeah.
This is just someone else flexing it at a different console.
Yeah. I joke, but it looks fantastic. And if you like Control, as I've said before, I think it's valuable to play these games because they're all in the same universe without going into spoilers. It's another really great way of telling a story too, When the main protagonist of a game is a novelist, there could be some really cool story beats that come to play. And then, Alex, I know you made fun of this just like 2 minutes ago, but Warhammer Space Marine 2.
I was actually thinking, I think I was talking about Helldivers, or just like, I guess Destiny too. But Helldivers just looked like a clone. But I was actually talking about that. I didn't think about Warhammer.
Did you see the trailer for this game?
No.
So Warhammer,
does it have Henry Cavill guest starring in it?
It does not. But there's like a new Warhammer game every 2 months.
Oh, okay.
Like Total War. I slightly joke, but there's all kinds of games they're using that IP for. Like there's tactics games, there's turn-based games, there's RTS games, there's Left 4 Dead type games. And the 40K universe is the futuristic one. Then there's the fantasy universe, which is games like Vermintide are based off of. Back in 2010 through 2013, the original Space Marine came out, and it was super well received. Space Marines are a certain type of soldier, naturally, for a certain type of faction in the 40K universe. It's got crazy lore, by the way, which I've always been intimidated by. But if you watch this trailer, which I recommend you should, it looks crazy, and it's a completely co-op game. It's a combination of like third-person action shooter. So like you physically fight humans and aliens, and you also get into these moments where you're just shooting down hordes of aliens as well. Like it looks gorgeous. I'm excited, and honestly, people
if I
that
play this game, I feel like I'm gonna be starting painting these miniatures as well. This is like the most common miniatures I see is people painting their Warhammer 40k. And I just know I feel like I'm gonna get hooked on that too if I start playing this.
well, if
But you have me interested with co-op play.
yeah, well, if you do get interested, there's someone that found the video I posted about it on YouTube and joined the Discord last night, and he's his name's Red Glare. He's been posting photos of his own miniatures nonstop. So
Oh, there you go. I know. Much respect.
if you go into like I think it's the collectibles or the artistry channel, you'll see them. But they look great. So yeah, the tabletop game I can never get into, but if you can give me a fun game like this as a vehicle for getting into the lore, I like it. And I'll say this, people that aren't Space Marine or aren't Warhammer diehards, but just like the first Space Marine, it tells me that overall was just a good game, you know? It's not like, oh, I love Dragon Ball Z and we're getting a sequel to Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. You know, it's not like that. It's as if Kakarot was a great game. Vermintide was fantastic. I think my lack of understanding with that, Midnight, in the chat here is those two different they're set in two different kind of timelines, right? Like Vermintide timeline is fantasy and like witches and all that stuff. 40K is like space exploration and colonization and guns and aliens. It looks very violent. So is Vermintide. But Vermintide 2 was a fantastic game. Tommy Worms and I in the chat played that a lot. I'm going to kind of skim through a little bit more because we have a lot to talk about. But the one other cool game that was announced was John Carpenter's Toxic Commando, which you watched this trailer, Alex. How would you explain this game?
Wait, did I watch this trailer? I know we were just talking about, because I talked to you about the Predator. I did not watch this trailer yet. No, wait, I did. This is where they ran over the thing right at the beginning. I don't know how much to say about that. Oh, my immediate thought was that it looked like one of the episodes from that Netflix show about, like, what is it, Love, Bad Robots or something? That series that had a bunch of weird animations, but this looks like one of those clips from that. But no, you and I were talking about when the Predator DLC came out for the Ghost Recon Badlands or Wildlands, about like ghost dropping that instead, where just players were just getting killed by a predator and no one knew what was actually happening. But I was thinking the same thing with this, if there was an actual thing, and just like, actually not even that, just kind of like an Easter egg that one of these aliens in this starts assimilating with your characters and you actually got to figure it out before you get killed. But no, the trailer looks pretty cool.
Yeah, had a good vibe to it. Definitely had a John Carpenter vibe to it. Just like the red eyes. Did you get that too? But like something about the red eyes and the creatures, I was like, oh yeah, I instantly recognize this aesthetic.
Yeah.
So it looks like it could be another really cool co-op game, which I'm excited about. Like I would guess up to 4 people, all kinds of ways to slay some demons. So very fun times. Baldur's Gate 3 got another video, which I was more interested than I'd ever be before because of the Dungeons and Dragons movie being so good. So yeah, that's
surprising.
That's
a random good time.
Yeah, the 1.0 version of that game comes out August 31st. So I imagine at that point it's full release if it's 1. But yeah, so that was cool. And then we did get the announcement for the Spider-Man 2 release date.
October 2nd or 20th?
20th. Wait, speaking of Spider-Man.
Yeah, have you seen it?
I saw... Oh, no, I haven't. I haven't seen the new one yet. With the news I told you about earlier, it's just kind of like, after every day of activities, it's like, you know what? I don't feel like going to the movie right now, you know?
Yeah.
But what is that? Okay, so we have there's some new Marvel movies coming out, Deadpool 3 being one of them. Who's the person starring beside Ryan Reynolds? He's been in other Marvel movies.
Hugh Jackman?
No, it's the guy that played in the X-Men movies with Patrick Stewart.
Hugh Jackman.
No, he had the blades.
Hugh Jackman.
No, the guy that played Wolverine.
Yeah, it's Hugh Jackman.
Okay, Hugh Jackman, that's it. Yeah, so Hugh Jackman, they did not show that game, the Wolverine game. So that's one thing people are looking forward to.
They that movie. Oh yeah, who's that? That's after Spider-Man. That's that studio, right? Insomniac.
Yeah, that's I imagine a 2026 release, 2025 release.
Can you imagine? I mean, they're already riding on that success of number one and the excellent extended DLC that was Miles Morales. But this Spider-Man 2, we're talking about it later, right?
Yeah, I
That
mean,
trailer, they showed that was absolutely insane. But just like to imagine what they're going to be able to do with a Wolverine game is going to be awesome.
I agree. And Spider-Man 2 again, October 20th. They say so apparently Eddie has been Venom before in the Ultimate comic book line. So
Yes.
the one thing that the lead creator here that came out on the show, he said the person who's Venom is someone who's never been Venom before in any TV show, comic, or movie. And so I'm guessing Norm Osborn then, if it's not Harry.
If it's not Harry, well, Harry's never been it either. I don't think
No, Harry has been it.
Harry has been, or Norman or Craven. He's the only other person in that game, but it could go the way where the first game advertised Mr. Negative as being the main boss the whole time, but it ended up being someone else in the end. So they could be doing that, where who are they advertising? I don't even know who they're advertising. Craven's in the trailer, Venom's this big spotlight, but who's going to be the final one unless it's them two combined? If the
Yeah.
symbiote attaches to Craven,
Ooh.
or the symbiote attaches to Green Goblin or to Norman, and then someone else is the Green Goblin in the third one.
Craven could
Yeah,
I could see Craven.
he's big, and the Venom in this is really big, and so that's what makes me think it's going to attach to him.
Yeah, I could see Craven happening. I could definitely see Craven happening. Maybe Venom is the friends we made along the way. I agree. Moving on. Power World looks way too good. Have you seen this game? This is
World.
This is Pokemon with guns. It's like, what if we had a game where you could capture these things and then you could train them with guns and they could shoot guns as you shoot guns at other big Pokemon that you're trying to catch? We're talking about chain guns. We're talking about rifles. We're talking about pistols. This is like a gorgeous 4K high def updated graphic open world Pokemon game called Power World where you get guns. Like this guy was straight up shooting a fake Lapras, and it's never looked more fun.
What's going on? Oh, Pal World. Got
Yeah.
it. Not POW, Pal. PIL.
Yeah, not like that.
My.
Yeah, check it out. It's coming out, I think, early access in January 2024. I've seen a trailer for this before, but to see Pokemon-like creatures wielding AK-47s, as it says here on Rock Paper Shotgun.
That just looks like if you got Pokemon, but on AliExpress. This looks so obviously derivative.
Oh,
I mean, that's a Leafeon with a gun.
Oh, that was great. Ali. Oh, yeah. I mean, if it was like, how do we make a game and sell it to Americans? Give them guns. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Electabuzz has a Gatling gun.
Dude, they look pretty accurate to like, you could see the somewhat resemblance, right? It's not just me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are Wooloos and Leafeons and
Wooloos.
Zoroark is there.
That's hilarious.
This is crazy. Yeah, Pokemon knockoff. They called it. I just saw it. Pokemon knockoff Pal World looks amusingly cool, and it said Pokemon Go Florida, and that just made me think that that's what this was called. Just Pokemon Go, but with guns. It's just Pokemon Go Florida.
Oh my
God! I
God.
think that's the name of the website or something.
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh man,
that's interesting. Yeah. So I mean, I'm curious to see what happens because the likeness clause in the law, I'm not an expert on it, and I don't think there's any issues here. But it's still like a like, what if we somehow made characters that looked like Mickey Mouse and Friends but weren't, and then just had them all slaughtering people, like that South Park episode with the Christmas critters. Yeah, that's yeah. So interesting times. New expansion for Black Desert Online, which is a MMO, action MMO that is well played. A Korean team made it. Looks awesome. Won't ever have time for it, but I know there are fans of it that are excited. And then we're also getting a co-op survival crafting factory-based game called Lord of the Rings Return to Moria. And it already looks better than Gollum because it makes sense. It makes sense.
Wrote the title and it looked better.
Yeah, it makes sense as a concept. What if we had dwarves and they were mining and trying to get to Moria, and the whole game was about running a mine and factory and all that stuff? Like that's
They're gonna find a Balrog
oh,
because they dug too far.
you see some
there is
stuff.
one?
I mean, I don't know if it was a Balrog specifically, but there's some creatures that pop up. But it looked cool. It looked really cool. I'm excited for that one. I'm excited to see them do stuff like that and be like, let's make a game about Gollum. No.
They're like, no, come on, we had a lot of success here. Let's not just throw a wrench in it yet.
Yeah, exactly. So then also, there was a trailer for Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, which according to Rock Paper Shotgun, Sega first announced this connecting chapter between Yakuza 6 and Like a Dragon 8 last year. But this is the first time we've seen the game in action, and yes, Kiryu is back. Kiryu is the main protagonist from Yakuza 0 through 6. And then after 6, they turned it into Like a Dragon 7, which the title in Japan is just Like a Dragon. They don't call it Yakuza. That'd be like releasing a game in Sicily about the mafia called the Camorra. You just don't do that. So this is Kiryu, and so Kiryu is the main protagonist, and then it's switched in Like a Dragon 7. And I say that as well because we also got a trailer for Like a Dragon 8 today at the Xbox Game Showcase, which was kind of funny.
Infinite Wealth.
Yeah, Infinite Wealth, but the infinite sign is an 8 sideways, and even on the Japanese websites, they're calling it Yakuza 8. So,
wow.
Yeah. So that looked cool. Yakuza's a game, honestly. Like if I was you and I had paternity leave coming up at sometime in January, I would spend that time, changing diapers and playing Yakuza. You'll be probably changing diapers and playing.
Wait, winter 2024 could be January and February. It doesn't imply the end of the year.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't pick a date for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Well, I immediately thought December 2024, like a whole year, a long time away.
Yeah.
Because they usually just say early 2024 if that's the case, not winter.
That game will probably come out alongside the Pokemon DLC and the new Switch, I would guess, if there is one. Gotcha. Yeah, so that's happening. There was a new trailer for a game called Under the Waves, which to me, it just looks like, what if we made a game about the life aquatic of Steve Zissou? Starring Bill Murray. I kid. But it's a weird atmospheric techno-futurist game, as again, I'm borrowing language from Rock Paper Shotgun here, of the 1970s, and you're underwater. It's a horror game because you're underwater.
Yeah, by default, that's a horror game. Even Subnautica is a horror game to me.
Oh,
even the Waterworld and Mario and Donkey Kong.
Horror game. Yeah. Here's something you'll actually be excited about. They announced Ben Brode, the lead production individual on Marvel Snap, came out and said there's a new mode coming out. A free update happening June 13th, so in a few days to Marvel Snap, called Conquest Mode, which adds a single elimination tournament to the Moorish Marvel card game. Again, from Rock Paper Shotgun. So that sounds exciting for people that still play Marvel Snap. Alex, do you still play Marvel Snap?
I haven't played since before I went to the Philippines in December, I think. I think it was around there.
So once you got the second marriage, you had no time to play?
Yeah, like 2 marriages, like I just ran out of time.
Yeah.
No, I think that for me, it was just like the seasons were happening too fast, and it just got pretty, like, no matter what, someone always had a trump card that, no matter what deck I had, I always got screwed by the other trump card on the 6th turn. I was just like, it was just not fun to play anymore.
Yeah, I hear you.
Just fell out of it.
That's what happens sometimes. So, I mean, there were a few more announcements of games, but again, a lot of them were interesting, or at the worst, probably, people were excited about it, but they weren't for me, is what I would say. And then it ended. Jeff Keighley's like, okay, our last one, the rumors were true. Thank you for letting me have this. And then it just went to it, and you hear the Final Fantasy music, and then boom, all of a sudden there was an explosion. What happened? People were in an ambulance. There's a dog named Red getting carted off by a paramedic. And then there's space. And it's funny. Okay, so I recognized every part of the game because I played the original game.
The original.
Yeah, like I didn't beat the original, but I put enough time in it to where, like, I got to the point There's that scene in the trailer where you're getting like a vision of the solar system, right?
Yeah.
Did you play the original game?
Yeah.
So that's when you go back to Red's camp, right? And you meet the like
Yeah.
leader of his clan, and he's telling you about the universe and all
The
that.
live stream and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, about the planet, and then even some of the villain shit. I'm like, I recognize all of this. So to me, that makes me excited. I need to play Final Fantasy VII Remake first and foremost.
Yeah, he hasn't played Remake or Crisis Core yet.
I'm still playing Crisis Core, just taking time.
They even showed a clip from that right there with Tifa in her little cowboy outfit, going up to Sephiroth. But that was from Crisis Core.
I remember Tifa going up to Zack in the beginning of Crisis Core and like trying to fight him, and Zack's just like, "You're a child."
Yeah, you have no idea about Zack. Yeah, you need to finish those games because you didn't know why I brought up Zack for this game coming up. You're like, why?
I know. It's her ex-boyfriend.
Yeah, I know, but his role in Rebirth.
Okay. That was awesome, though. It was cool to see. The trailer looks good. I think fans. So I was partially surprised that they did it, but now going on right now, there's since 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, there's like a 4 to 5 hour Final Fantasy 16 direct, just dedicated to Final Fantasy 16. Maybe now's a good time to talk about. I watched the first hour. I told you this before we started. Tomorrow morning, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then adjusted times relative to where you're at that point. We're getting a demo of Final Fantasy 16. It's about 2 hours long, and your save file will carry over to the final game once it's available on June 22nd, which is awesome. The coolest thing about less than 2 weeks. I'm going to be on vacation, so I might end up buying the game digitally and bring my PlayStation 5. But we'll talk about that another time. But one of the coolest things that I saw at this 1 hour I watched, so they talked about all kinds of fun stuff, and honestly, the new CEO of Square, he came out and he gave this really charming story about how when he was a little kid, he wanted the first Final Fantasy game, and his dad made him pick oranges and do a bunch of chores to get it. And then he finally got it, and he's like, I played that game instead of eating. I played that game instead of schoolwork. My teacher said I'll never amount to anything. And he's like, now look where I'm at. He said all of that in very, very, like, he's not a native speaker in English. And so I was supremely surprised that he like got up there in LA and did all this. It was pretty awesome to see. Like, props to that guy to like say, I'm gonna kick this thing off because I love gaming. So I got that vibe from the new CEO that he's like he's a gamer. So which was cool.
Did he apologize for Spoken? Or was he not there when that happened?
I mean, to be fair, I think Forspoken is, not the greatest game in the world, if not an average game at the very best. But yeah, nothing was mentioned, and
so he said no. No, okay.
And it still has more concurrent players on Steam than a lot of games like Redfall. So
I forgot to turn off their PlayStation.
Yeah, it's just those hours going up.
You gotta toggle on the sleep mode. Yeah, it's okay. Easy mistake.
No, on Steam. So the PC version's actually got a lot of players.
All right.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's because there was a DLC that just came out, right? But the also really cool thing about Final Fantasy 16 is the teams at Platinum Games, which are masterminds of action combat. So we have one of the guys and directors from Devil May Cry series. Then we have the Platinum Games team working on Final Fantasy 16. And we also have the Kingdom Hearts team. They showed both teams as like surprises, saying, hey, these two teams, they also help make this game. This is like an
16?
Yeah. Kingdom Hearts team is helping with 16, and Platinum Games.
Yeah, with the combat especially, I can see that. They even did like the shot lock. I saw the shot lock from, I think that was introduced in 2. That's in here too. No, maybe that was Birth by Sleep. I think it was introduced in Birth by Sleep. But yeah, it was used in 3 as well.
So I'm really...
You know what shot lock is? You know what I'm talking about?
I played Birth by Sleep, but no.
It's just like where you're like fighting, but if you just hold down L1, anything that comes into that frame at that time, it like counts up to 30, and then you just shoot them all at once. It's a shot lock command.
Oh, yeah, that's in other games too.
That was in 16 as well.
Yeah. Okay, well that makes sense.
I think that's what that whole team worked on.
So yeah, you have people that know how to make an action game behind this. You have Devil May Cry, Platinum.
Yeah.
Again, Platinum's made Bayonetta 1, 2, and 3. They made Nier Automata. I mean, those games
Ooh.
shine. So
Yeah.
I'm even more intrigued than I was, which was awesome. So yeah, that's going on right now. Again, that demo will be out tomorrow morning, 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will probably download it once I wake up. That's about 1 a.m. your time, I think, Alex, right? Yeah.
I will be asleep.
Well, if you were a real gamer, you would not be asleep and download.
I've got like 4 hours of sleep both nights so far. I need to catch up tonight.
Oh, you and your dubstep.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Sorry, Naruto music. I apologize. Yeah. So that was the Summer Games Fest. Again, I'll reiterate, that was an exciting show with a little penguin shirt. Getting distracted for our audio listeners. Alex's pet cat has a penguin shirt on.
It's Mark. His pet cat has a San Jose Sharks jersey on.
Got a Joe Thornton, I love Joe Thornton t-shirt on. Yeah, I'm kidding. It's a dog. Yeah. So that was an awesome show again. And then today, I didn't think it would be possible, but the Xbox showcase was really, really good. I think leading, like, here's an article headline from Video Game Chronicles. Xbox saves the summer with a solid showcase that channels the E3 of old. From Fable and Forza to exciting third-party debuts, Xbox brought the gaming goods to a fallow year. So what I'll say is this, and that's an article by Tom Regan over on VGC, go check it out, is PlayStation Showcase, again, I'm not doing a compare and contrast because they're at war. I'm just saying, like, the PlayStation Showcase, the Summer Games Fest Showcase, they all had their pros, but I strongly believe PlayStation doesn't have as much to prove. And I think they came out in a confident position where they were like, hey, you know what? It's Jeff Keighley, you want Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for your show? We'll give it to you. We don't need it for our show, right? Which makes sense. Makes perfect sense. I think that's a confident move. Yeah. The one thing that the PlayStation Showcase did was they had a lot of indie games or third-party games. And there's just something about those third-party games that, to me, were, you know, they might not have been my cup of tea, if I'm going to be, you know, speak generously. This Xbox Showcase had a lot of third-party and indie games, and almost every one of them seemed really interesting, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
But here's the thing. These are all games that are going to be on PlayStation 2, right? Besides Starfield.
PlayStation 2? Wow.
Yeah.
Throwback.
Yeah. Besides Starfield, which is going to be an exclusive game, all these other games are going to be on PlayStation as well. The one thing I will say is almost every single game, in fact, I think every single game showed, third party, indie, first party, of course, all says day one Game Pass.
Oh, man.
Again, you know, different strategies going on, right?
Wow.
Xbox sells their console for a loss. I don't believe PlayStation does anymore right now, because they want to get subscriptions. So if I'm gonna go from I'm gonna hit the heavy hitters. First off, have you played? You've played Fable, right?
I played Fable 2.
Fable 2. Oh wow, was that on the PS2?
I think I played it on like a computer back then.
You probably would have, because that was a Microsoft game. That would have been Xbox 360 or PC.
I played it like on a laptop or something.
Okay. So they had a teaser trailer a year or two ago for the fact that Playground Studios, that's the team behind Forza Horizon, is working on a new Fable. And it was a very short teaser trailer. It was enough to get people excited because this is a beloved Microsoft IP that we've seen nothing from for a long time. And now it's coming back. Well, they showed the game, and it launches with, you got to watch the trailer, but I'm going to butcher his name. I'm going to say Richard Ayoade or Ayoade from the IT crowd. He's got like puffy hair. It just launches with like a focus on him being interviewed about what he thinks a hero is. And
I played Fable 3.
Okay, Fable 3. Gotcha.
2010, yeah. That's the one that came out on Microsoft, yeah.
Yeah, I did not play that one. So it was just a really well done trailer. And at a certain point, I'm like, oh, this is a good story trailer. it's not till after the fact that I went back and I saw that one of the lead producers on the game on Twitter say he tweeted a photo of the trailer with the focus on that says in-game footage, and I was like, oh my gosh, that entire trailer, you got to watch it, Alex, was all in-game footage. Like, you can watch it up on my channel too. I have it up there, but the action sequences and all that stuff, I thought it was just a cutscene. I'm like, no, this is actually an action sequence. Which again, with God of War games existing, it shouldn't be a surprise, to be honest with you. I think I was just surprised with how good this game looked.
Yeah.
But I would tell you to watch it when you have time to listen to the audio, because that's some of the best part. Fable always had a British sense of humor to it. It was a very British game. And that's definitely back. They've captured that essence. So they opened up with that. Then they came out of nowhere with this new IP I've never heard of called South of Midnight from Compulsion Games, which was another really cool atmospheric trailer. And it just seems like, again, honestly, no idea what the game is. I will be honest about that. But it seems like you're dealing with monsters and creatures and all that stuff in the bayou, and you're going to be hunting these things. Compulsion Games made We Happy Few, which I feel like is a popular game, and Contrast as well. But they've been owned by Xbox since 2018. That's before they released We Happy Few. And then we got to look at Star Wars Outlaws, the brand new.
I didn't know if you heard about that. I didn't see it on the sheet, but I saw the trailer today.
Yeah, so that's the brand new Ubisoft promised open world Star Wars game. No gameplay shown, so of course I'm like, well, I want to see that, but we are going to get a fuller exploration of gameplay in the game itself, I believe, tomorrow at the Ubisoft event.
You just saw like the cinematic trailer,
the world premiere trailer, saying, hey, this is official, this is real. Obviously it doesn't seem like we're playing as Jedis, which I think is good.
That's what you wanted.
Yeah, I don't think you can have another Jedi game on the market. I think big games that are Star Wars focused, if you're going to have two open world games close to each other, maybe you have them be Bounty Hunter or, all that stuff. And it's got the guy from Rogue One, the designer of the Death Star. He's in it.
Oh.
Yeah, that's the guy you see at the end there. And he's like, I think, I forget the name. Everyone in my chat was like, it's that guy. I'm like, oh, I forgot.
One in the ship with the robot?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is taking place sometime between, at least what
the guy that was like the scary guy.
The guy on the ship with the robot.
Okay.
It's the character played by Mads Mikkelsen, Galen Erso.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't recognize him.
Yeah, it didn't look like Mads, to be honest with you, but the name Galen gave it away for a lot of people in the chat here.
Gotcha. Okay.
And what we can infer, at least if the trailer is not jumping between large moments in timeline, is that this takes place between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, because you do see a Han Solo and Carbonite. So Galen's got to be an enemy of the Empire at this point. You're obviously on the run, it seems like, as well. It just looked like a fun Star Wars story, somehow better than the movie already. Sorry. But yeah, the gameplay, again, I think if you're cautious, good to be cautious, but you'll see more of the gameplay like tomorrow or Tuesday, I think, which was cool. So that was awesome. Alex, who made, what's that one game you played a few years ago that, wait, I just saw it. Hold on. The Outer Worlds. So, maker of the Outer Worlds, Obsidian, also showed their brand new fantasy action RPG that's coming exclusively to Microsoft, Avowed, coming 2024 to Xbox and PC. So if you're a fan of Outer Worlds, if you're a fan of Fallout New Vegas, if you're a fan of anything Obsidian's done, you might be a fan of this game.
Yeah, closer to the writing and story building of New Vegas would be better than if they went the direction of Outer Wilds.
Okay.
I would hope they would return more to that form. I think that they got that feedback when Outer Worlds was released. That it's, we were expecting the depth of New Vegas and didn't get it.
No.
But yeah, I mean, they have a lot of promise.
Okay. Yeah, it looked cool. Someone, I think Hawkinson in the chat here thought it might have been an Elder Scrolls Online DLC,
Yeah.
which it wasn't, but we did get one of those as well. Which that's an MMO that's just secretly always out there doing well. The Elder Scrolls Online game, which is that's cool. I'd love to play it again, but don't have the time for it. We got a Payday 3 announcement, which leaked a few days earlier. Have you played Payday? Never played it either. Maybe it's a game we should try out some point. Again,
Is that like a cooperative bank robbing game?
Yeah, it's got sim aspects to it based on like how you approach the heist, is like what happens if you deal with the cops coming and all that stuff too. So yeah, it could be cool. So yeah, we got Avowed, we got South of Midnight, which was really cool. I recommend you checking the trailer out for that. Star Wars Outlaws, Fable. And also this leaked, this is funny, these two games leaked, I want to say on Thursday or Friday on a Sega Atlas Instagram channel. They just straight up posted the trailers. But we got the official announcement for Persona 3 Reloaded, which is a total remaster of Persona 3. Have you played that one?
In the same art style as Persona 5.
I think so, correct.
Or Persona 4. I played like half of it on my PS Vita, and it was the port. Or maybe it was Persona 3 Golden. I did not get far into it because I was playing it on the Vita and only when I was like traveling or like on planes and stuff, but I never finished it because it was just the Vita,
Yeah.
But vamping it up to the most recent Persona, I think it's Persona 5, right?
Persona 5 is the newest one.
Yeah, like it just looks like they took that art direction and dialed it to an 11.
I like it 11.
It has a lot more flourish to it,
I hear you. People are excited, and I also think people are upset, but let's be honest, it's gaming in the internet. That's anything at any single moment at any time.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it.
It's not a new thing. It's just another remake.
Maybe that's it. There could be other reasons. I don't know. I'm not an expert on Persona culture. But from someone like me who's never played it and is always looking for a reason to play a Persona game, like to me, it's cool that earlier entries, like I found out about Persona with the Vita with Persona 4 Golden, So like I know the history about it. I know its connection to the Shin Megami Tensei series as well, but I've never been really a fan of following a lot of Sega Atlas games. So that was cool. So the cool thing about that is like, okay, Microsoft historically is considered not the place to go for JRPGs. In fact, even in Japan itself, Microsoft is always performs horribly. And it's every generation it seems to be getting somewhat better. The fact that Persona 3 came to the Xbox showcase, Phil Spencer, I'm guessing, made a lot of strong efforts to say, hey, Sega Atlas, partner with us on this. Because not only did they get Persona 3, they also got the new Persona 5 Tactics game, which I'm not seeing it on this article I'm looking at right now, but it's a Persona 5. I had it written down. Where did it go? Yeah, Persona 5 Tacticus or something like that. Gosh, I'm ruining it. Tactica, yeah. So it's literally Persona 5 characters, I can tell from what I've seen. And
almost like a chibi art style.
Correct. So I don't know. I like it when a franchise does that. Like, I'm not bothered if a franchise is going to say, hey, we have a franchise IP that's good and we're going to make a puzzle fighter game or anything like that. I'm like, if you do it well, then I think that's a value add overall, and if this is a good tactics game, good, because there's honestly not a lot of good tactics games out there. What's your opinion on this?
I think it's the same thing. Yeah, you like the characters, you just want to spend more time with them, but in another type of game, here you go.
Yeah.
But I don't know if anyone's like they're like hardcore Persona fans and don't want to play a tactics game I don't know if they'd be upset by this or feel like they have to play it. But if you're a tactics fan, cool.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
You like tactics games?
Yeah, I do. The more I'm seeing is I think I played Persona 4 Golden. Now I'm thinking Persona 3 is completely new to me.
You definitely played Persona 4 Golden.
Yeah, I think the 3 remake now is even more surprising to me. So I would have never played that game unless this remake came out. Yeah.
So not only did we get Persona 5 Tactica, but Sega Atlas also unveiled a brand new fantasy RPG from the makers of Persona. In fact, the menus looked like Persona, called Metaphor Re Fantasio. This is an article from The Gamer by George Foster. Um, Apparently, it's based on a earlier project called Re Fantasy, and it's resurfaced as this game. It's got a lot of Persona cues to it. Again, the menu system, like you'll see in Persona 5, you'll see
Yeah,
here. It just has
that's
a,
the same art direction.
yeah, a little bit of a different setting though, like time, like it's not in the same type of world setting, if you will. So
No, it looks more drab and classical almost. I don't know how to say it, like European, I guess.
classical, but also futuristic, like classical
Yeah,
cyborg. I'm gonna say, or something like
yeah.
that. Um, which again, those games I've never played, but that to me is like kind of important. So this is all these games are mentioned again, day one Game Pass, and this is a brand new
Huh.
game. Um, that's exciting. So it's just cool to see Microsoft trying to bridge a gap with the perception that they're not the place to. And the story, it's still true that you can't play Final Fantasy 7 or 16 there day one, right? I mean, that's still true. Can't play. Oh, can you? You can play Kingdom Hearts there. I
Hmm.
think you can now, but there still are a
Yeah.
lot of big series that you can't play there, and I think they're trying to hedge their bets again with Like a Dragon Infinite also being premiered there too. Which you should watch that trailer. Just so you
I just saw it like a couple minutes before the show. Not the trailer, but
you should watch the trailer.
something on Reddit
Because it's the first Yakuza game that's ever going to be in the US. So it's going to be interesting.
at launch.
No, like it's literally based in the US.
Oh, gotcha. I thought you meant like because I thought all the other ones were Japan first and came here. But yeah, I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah. So that looks
Huh.
cool. A lot of good games. We got another look at Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2. Never played the first one, but this game looks crazy. Um, I don't mean that to belittle the topic. The game is really interesting because it's made by people who have a passion for trying to bring to life important stories, especially like what it's like to suffer of schizophrenia. So a lot of the
Mhm.
audio design and visual cues and all that hit at that, and it's just a gorgeous looking game. This game's on PlayStation. Have you ever played it?
No,
Okay.
doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah, I would like check out the trailer. You might be like, what the heck is
What's it
this?
called?
Uh, Hellblade 2.
Oh, I thought I heard you say Kit-tat, and I was like, I don't know how to spell that.
Hellblade 2 will get you what you want, but it's just Senua's
Yeah.
Saga.
Yeah,
Is the
gotcha,
first
got it.
name.
Oh, ew. Ooh, that does look creepy.
Yeah. We also got a new Forza Motorsport. Instead of Forza Motorsport 8, it's just Forza Motorsport. Again, this is the Gran Turismo for Xbox. It's not the arcadey racing game that the Horizon series has, but this is more of the racing sim. It looks great. I'm gonna be honest, I don't care. Like I don't play sim
You don't like
racers.
realistic
I
racers?
I do, but I don't. The older you get, the less time you have. You got to make decisions. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to say like I want to play them all, unless you're Pow World and you want to shoot them all. But that's a different thing. It does look good. It does look good. I will agree with you there, Prude. But yeah, so that's coming out. Obviously, that's a Microsoft PC game. You won't see PlayStation putting that on their system. I'd be surprised. I would tell them not to do it. We also got Keanu Reeves. So on Thursday we had Nick Cage. Nick Cage showed up. I don't think we talked about this. Nick Cage showed up
No.
on Summer Games Fest, which is maybe the best part. My is he charming, and he's talking about how he's going to be in Dead by Daylight, which is kind of cool. Not
As a survivor?
correct, not as Renfield, but as a survivor. You play as Nick Cage. So that was really cool to see. And now Keanu Reeves showed up because the brand new DLC for Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty comes out September of this year.
Yeah, I was wondering if he came out on stage and it's still related to Cyberpunk or if this was something new.
So he's in this new DLC. Idris Elba's in this new DLC. Alex, have you revisited that game yet? Have you had any desire to?
No.
Okay.
Not until people say it's completely polished and worth playing. Not it's better than launch. You know, like I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for it's just everything I hated about it at launch is all fixed. Like that's what I'm waiting for.
I feel like
I
that's
think
where
there's
it's
still
at.
pop-ins. I think there's still bad AI or something. Like I'm not going to get into it if it's not enjoyable.
See, I haven't heard that. When I played it a little bit, it seemed super impressive and intense, and I was like, I just don't have time for this. But from what
That might be what I'm getting at.
yeah. But honestly, I think if there's ever a time to get it, like I think you could probably dip your feet in now and start to enjoy the game if you wanted to. You could probably get it for like $1 as well, because it's
Yeah.
But this DLC looks ambitious. They're doing all kinds of work to it. They're not just giving you new content. They're adding to the game in terms of systems and all kinds of things. So it seems to be an ambitious DLC. They're obviously putting money behind it with someone like Idris Elba and Keanu Reeves returning as well. Actors aren't cheap. And yeah, so that was cool to see. We're getting a new Microsoft Flight Simulator, which I did not expect. The cool thing about this is we just got a new one a few years ago, right?
That's what I thought. I thought it was like a huge step, has real airports and uses Google Earth or something.
All that.
What's this one?
It's all of that, and now there's career aviation. So it's like, you ever want to be a firefighter in the air? You can do that. You ever want to do search and rescue? You can do that. You ever want to do construction, like put big cranes together? You can do that. Anything that is a career related to flying. If you want to be a pilot that helps people jump out of airplanes, like skydiving, you can do that.
Yeah.
It's
Oh, that's cool. That was an interesting direction.
So yeah, plane races and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it looked cool. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I got some. When I used to watch Thomas the Tank Engine, I'm pretty sure there was a helicopter that would help with fires when the trains couldn't get there. Like, I was getting those types of vibes in me as the child in me.
Are they going to do the forest fire DLC? Oh, you did mention that, right? Where you can like drop powdered stuff on the fires.
That's all in this game. It's whatever Flight Simulator has been, and it's now all this stuff where you're going to be able to fight forest fires and all that stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I imagine continuing with the simulation nature. You might get some people coming around a few years from now saying, "I used to fight forest fires in helicopter."
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the whole setup. I had the VR hookup. I had the official control deck. It was all real. Which that is the cool thing about these games is like you can make it extremely realistic. I mean, it's not the real thing, but the simulation ability is pretty intense. If you wanted to put the money in. Same with games like Forza Horizon too. Like if you buy the car stuff and the steering wheel and the shifter, like you can make
it's like super immersive.
Yeah, especially Gran Turismo with the PSVR 2. Apparently that is a super immersive way of playing that game. Which,
Victor's brother has that.
Okay. PSVR 2 or Gran Turismo. Okay.
No, the whole setup with everything. His favorite thing is the whole Gran Turismo series with those realistic racing.
Yeah,
I think he has a whole setup with like pedals and everything and steering wheel.
I have some friends like that. I am not one of them. But that's cool. What else was an exciting announcement as I go through? Oh, Sea of Thieves still thriving, and now they're adding a brand new expansion for The Secret of Monkey Island. So have you got to know that title of that game, right?
I know the title. That's its own series from a while back.
That's a classic LucasArts adventure game. So classic adventure point and click game from the late 80s, early 90s. Made by Tim Schafer, who was now the head of Double Fine Studio, now Microsoft owned, so makers of Psychonauts 1 and 2 and other good games. Tim Schafer was a producer on those games back in the day, as well as games like Day of the Tentacle, other classic adventure games. So the fact that they're taking Sea of Thieves and we're just like, we're going to put Monkey Island in this game was really cool to see. Like the overall reaction, at least in the chat here, was, oh, I need to play Sea of Thieves now.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
Sea of Thieves,
quite a reach.
Yeah, it's always a fun game, honestly. It's a fun game to play with friends too, because apparently you can trick your friends into crashing ships, and I've seen it happen. So it's always funny. So that was a big surprise announcement. I am curious if Tim Schafer worked on anything at all for this, because he's now Microsoft as well, but who knows. I think a game that was announced you might really like, because it gave me hardcore BioShock Infinite vibes, was a brand new IP called Clockwork Revolution, which is a steampunk first-person RPG. So like full-on RPG, action RPG, where you can where your actions change timelines, but it's got a very, again, simmy feel to it.
Yeah, that looks like BioShock Infinite.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, to me, That looked really cool. And that was the thing. We got a lot of new IPs like this and a lot of indie games too. Like there's an indie game called Jusat, which was like a mountain climbing game, but it looked like it gave you a lot of freedom and exploration on how you climb the mountains. And it was just like, had a really cool atmosphere. There was a game called Towerborn that looked really exciting. Trying to think, what's the other game that came out? Hold on. It was made by a game studio named Secret Mode Games.
Yeah, it looks like gamers are gonna be eating good for at least the next year.
At least
This
for
is
the
pretty
next.
cool. I like a lot of the new stuff rather than remakes and remasters. There's this kind of stuff.
Agree. There's a new game from Secret Mode in the Chinese room, considered to be a psychological horror game called Still Wakes the Deep, which is going to come out on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC.
Already pre-ordered it.
Yeah, I know you're a fan of
No.
water game. Oh, that's too
This
funny.
is gonna bring back childhood trauma.
Oh yeah.
This is the game for you. What's it called?
So again, there was just all kinds of new IPs, right? And indie games that actually looked interesting. And I say this all with the caveat of, all right, deliver. Deliver, Microsoft. If you deliver on this,
Get rid of the jank.
yeah, well, Bethesda. I mean, asking them to get rid of jank
No.
is like asking for me to not talk with my hands. Like I got to tie them down right now. But so that's a good transition because then they did show a Starfield trailer, and you could go back and look at the VOD. My reaction during the Starfield trailer was like, I'll be honest, I'm interested, but I need to see gameplay. And they showed a glimpse of gameplay, and I'm like, okay, I'm more interested. And that got me to stay around for the Starfield Direct. I wasn't planning on it, okay? It was about an hour long. It was just as long as the entire Xbox Game Showcase. The Xbox Game Showcase just was like, boom, world premiere, world premiere, world premiere, world premiere, Xbox Game Pass day one, world premiere, Xbox Game Pass day one, world premiere. That was it, right? And then Phil Spencer popped up. He's like, hey, I'm a gamer. It was fun. But then they went into this. Todd Howard shows up. He still looks like he's 12. He's not aging.
Yeah.
All that Skyrim money's keeping him fresh and young. I respect it. And they got into the game. They showed a lot of people from the different teams, technical leads, production leads, art leads, just all kinds of facets to what made this game work. And from the character customization to the SIP customization to the procedural generation and how it works and what isn't procedurally generated to the combat, I literally, again, I said it earlier, if I was a 2 or a 3, I am now 11 after watching that. Like Starfield wasn't on my radar at all as like a game I really care about. To me, it was like, oh, I hope it's good, but also I don't care. But I'm like, no, because you know what it is? It looks like what I want out of a No Man's Sky. If No Man's Sky had a solid open world action RPG story focus aspect to it. Like I know there's a story to No Man's Sky, but I've played parts of it, and it's just not the same as like, what if you had Mass Effect mixed with it? You know what I mean? And this gives off like, what if we had a game that was the best of Bethesda mixed with the best of Mass Effect mixed with the best of like a No Man's Sky? Because you got to do resource management. You're going to be able to build bases and ships. Like you can make a ship look like whatever you want. I mean whatever. Like I'm concerned for that, but people are going to be making all kinds of ships immediately. Trust me. It just really surprised me. Like I literally, like in that reaction to that direct, I went from whoop, like I was completely interested to the point where I want it to be good. I want them to deliver. The release date is September 9th, I believe. So soon. So to your point about gamers eating good, gamers are eating, September 6th, excuse me.
Oh my.
Yeah. It's just crazy. Go check out the Starfield Direct. It's like 40 minutes long.
I watched 30 minutes of it before we started.
Yeah, I mean, Alex, if this game comes out and people are like, and I'm kind of
no jank.
Well, the normal amount of Bethesda jank, like Skyrim today still has jank.
No, like Fallout 4, I like stopped playing the game because they kept force closing. You know, like it.
That's broken.
You know, like if it's that kind of stuff.
That's not jank to me. That's broken. I'm talking about like the Skyrim definitive edition version I could still play today that still has like a weird jankiness to it at times. You know what I mean?
Just like the lag from too much save data.
Maybe
That's
lag.
like, I always tried to speed run, not speed run, but I tried to like get done with Fallout 3 like as quick as I could in the replays and stuff, because like I just felt like once the save file got too big, because it was always good at the beginning, but then the more the map I explored, the more laggy it got and stuff. So like when I replayed it, this was when I was younger, when I went back and like would replay it, I was just like, well, I know what the parts I want to hit. As long as I don't explore too much of the map, I won't have to deal with that lagging and stuff.
Yeah.
But I always thought it was like the save file getting too big, and I don't know. But it always got worse the longer you played.
And that is something to do with the engine and how everything's compiling and saving. You hope they get better with that over time. And you hope that with more resources, they can do more as well. So let's say this game comes out and it's not broken. It's not closing all the time on you. It's just got a normal Bethesda feel to it, but overall it is not broken. And let's say people are saying, you know what, it delivers on what it said it did. Is this something that you would be interested in?
If people say, man, I am spending way too much time collecting resources, like literally pointing lasers and collecting rocks, because like a lot of the planets are going to be with no life on it. It's just for resources. If they say the game is even, I don't know, 50-50 that, just going, I don't know.
So
let's like resource collecting is not like my favorite thing in the world.
Let's clarify that, because that was my concern as well.
So what's going on? A
lot of the planets will not be focused for like main stories, human-based civilizations. No. They're gonna mostly exist for resource gathering, but they later on in that video they talk about the procedural generation engine, and there are the custom-made aspects of every planet that are going to be procedurally generated. So it's not that like everything that happens on a planet is just randomized. They randomize their terrain, and then they decide what type of other events or places of interest they're going to place on that planet. So you're still going to go to a planet and you're going to face wildlife and enemies, and it's going to mostly exist for resource gathering too, but there's going to be like mines or bases you'll discover, items you can get there, and there's going to be side missions and stuff, to the point where, like, if we're talking about like the game does its thing, generates the planet for you, and it decides to pull like side quests 6, 17, 32, and 40, plop it on this planet. I could go to that same planet, and again, this all has story, mission, all that. I could go to that same planet. Terrain-wise, it's going to look the same as it did for you and me. It's going to have similar atmosphere. So things are going to be slightly varied, but it's going to pull side quests 78, 41, 2, and 3 and put it on that planet as well. So like, they're doing it in a way to where because that's the problem No Man's Sky had, I think, is that it was just like, well, it's all procedurally generated, which is an impressive technology. But now what though? Like, what's my purpose for being here? And if you give me a good balance of doing combat and everything else, like, I think that's exciting. So I think
so then it would be coming down to if people were like, yeah, I never got bored with it. Like, it'd be like Horizon, where you're just grabbing the plants, or Witcher, where you're just grabbing the plants on the way from one thing to another. Yeah. But you never had to like stop the game and be like, oh, I don't have enough gas to go to the next planet, so I just got to like mine this stuff for 2 hours.
It's interesting you bring that up.
There's a balance there. You can't make planets, you can't make resource gathering lucrative, like where, oh, if you just bust one rock, you'll get 50, not 2. Mm-hmm. And that'll be enough to carry you for a while. Because then it makes, then you'd farm too much, and then it makes those other planets completely worthless to even go to. Like, I don't need to resource gather, so what's the point of those planets without anything? Yeah. So there's a healthy balance. I just hope it's a fun balance. That's all.
I think it's really interesting you bring that up, because Todd Howard spoke to that specifically today and in the past. Like, in the past, he had an interview, I think when we did an episode about it, where he's like, we were trying to balance out how space travel works, and we did all kinds of, because you know them, they researched all kinds of, like, they borrowed so much stuff from actual NASA tech and information to make this. It's really impressive. But they were like, we don't want to put the player in the situation where it's not fun, where it's such a realistic experience where they run out of gas while space traveling and they just have to sit there. And so he's basically saying, like, so what we're doing as much as possible when it comes to, do we make this really realistic, Do we make this just a great story, or do we make this something fun for the player to do? We were always deferring to something fun for the player to do. And he said that again today as well. He's like, we want to make sure the story's great and it's fun. So I think it's got a high level of realism.
It seems like active handling of it. And
it's got a high level of realism. But again, I'm just echoing him. He could be lying, right? But he did emphasize that. He said, we want to emphasize what is fun for the player as much as possible. So I think that's definitely in mind for sure. Okay. But again, we don't know. So let's say this game gets like a 9 to 10. All right. And it's not broken. And you could spend $299, actually $250. Get yourself a Series S with Game Pass, like 3 months free, and play this game.
That 3 months would be perfectly timed for when I probably won't be able to play it after a while.
So yeah,
getting that in September and then not being able to play it after January.
Yeah. Well, I
would seriously consider it, because I mean, the Fallout series was one of my favorites. You know, especially I was like right when after I turned 18 and stuff. Like Fallout 3 came out, and I liked Fallout 4 until it started crashing on me. But like New Vegas and stuff like that. So I have some. What is that word? I don't know, some like leeway with Bethesda. But yeah, buying a whole console for him.
Be crazy. I mean, you played Skyrim a ton back in college.
Yep.
So what was it that made Skyrim work and Fallout 4 broken? Was it just the crashing and all the other issues?
Yeah, Skyrim did the same thing though. The longer I played it, the laggier it got. But no, Fallout 4 just like
interesting.
It would force close like during, or just like go on forever. It wouldn't even close. It was just a helicopter would just go off the perimeter of the map and just keep going. I was just going to, like I said, I was going to Portugal.
Interesting.
I don't know if I was going to discover some undiscovered DLC, but it just kept going for like 15 minutes. I'm like, I just want to complete this last mission with the Brotherhood, and it just wouldn't take me to the Zeppelin. The helicopters would just go. And it wasn't until like years later that I fired it up. I had to start a new game, and I did finally complete that mission, but I had to like restart everything else. But it's just like stuff like that just, like you just want to sit down and play the game, and it just won't let you.
Yeah.
But
that's problematic.
It's regardless of even what happened with Andromeda. If you told me Starfield and another Mass Effect game was launching at the same time, I'd go right for Mass Effect. I still liked the gameplay in that better than these games, Fallout and all that stuff.
It's interesting you say that, because the first thing that I thought of was like, this game looks like it has the action of Mass Effect Andromeda.
Well, it doesn't have. Well, did it? Does it have like magic?
Jetpacks, magic, all that stuff.
Like biotics?
Like there's literally one moment near the end of that direct where you just see him put his hand out and everyone freezes and flies in the air.
Okay, so that's better, because it just looked like slow jetpacks and shooting and stuff like that, which is a step back from it. Like it looks floatier, which is probably because it's more realistic. But yeah, if they have like biotics and stuff like that, now I'm super interested. But
yeah, and in the video I was like, he's using the Force, and then everyone was like, yeah. So yeah, and to your point about the floaty, like that will change. It seems like depending on the planet, because they said every planet has different gravity.
Yeah.
But and that's the cool thing. Early on, I'm sure you saw this part. They're like, you get to decide if you want to get jetpack or lean into this or lean into that. Like the one guy was like, I just like to play every game by punching people. Or like the one lady's like, every random interaction I have, like you could be friends, you could board them, you could be a pirate. She's like, I just always attack. And it's just like, there's that level of Bethesda freedom that I really like. And I'm like, if this all works, then, again, things that I did not expect to say today. Tears of the Kingdom might be my game of the last 2 years. And I thought to myself, nothing could get close to Tears of the Kingdom this year. But 2023 might end up being one of the better years for gaming in general. If we get Final Fantasy 16 made by the Final Fantasy 14 team, as well as Bayonetta, Platinum Games, and Kingdom Hearts, if that game's good, like that could be a freaking amazing game. And then if Starfield hits it out of the park, along with some of these other games we talked about, Spider-Man, exactly. Like 2023 might be one of the just straight up best years in gaming. Tears of the Kingdom
That's
too.
probably why they moved Justice League to 2024, not to just tarnish 2023.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's like now they have a better chance of standing out. Now that
No.
yeah, no. And then Diablo 4 too, which maybe that's a good point
Yeah.
to transition to the other news. Um, yeah, I'm excited. I mean, out of all that, Alex, besides Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, what interests you the most?
Spider-Man
Spider-Man
and Rebirth.
and Rebirth.
That and then number 3 would be 16. But
See.
yeah, no game hooked me and made me want to play it. Like I had to finish that game as soon as possible just to see where it went. Was Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
I beat it in 3 days. Like
So-
I barely slept, barely ate, and took that game back to GameStop on Sunday because I was done. I
remember
did
that.
everything. I got the platinum.
I remember that.
And like I was absolutely hooked. It never got boring. Even the collectibles in it were just reasonable. You know, it's just like you're on your way and you just could see them on the way there. Just blew through that game.
Yeah.
So especially after seeing, I was never a huge fan of like the moody Peter Parker with the whole symbiote. Like I didn't like it in that second or the third movie way back when.
I don't think anyone did.
You know, it's huh?
I don't think anyone did. It's a meme.
No, not Spider-Man 3 especially, but like even this trailer, like I just don't like the moody. I don't like what the symbiote does to Peter Parker, and I think that's the point.
Yeah.
But like I just would rather not see Peter Parker go through that. I hate that that's like it makes sense. The symbiote attaches to him, and that's why Venom even is like Spider-Man, is because it keeps it kind of gets his powers, except for like the spider sense.
Yeah.
Like it makes sense, but like I just hate seeing that moody Peter Parker. But it's going to be an excellent cinematic game, and that's why that's right after Rebirth.
Yeah. Well, again, to your point, it is intentional because the character's name is Venom, and having those character attributes be magnified or being mainly your defined personality is poisonous and toxic for your soul to like embrace those things. So like I think that's what they're kind of going for, right? So if I can recapture, your number 1 game is number 2, Spider-Man 2. Your number 2 game is number 7, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and your number 3 game is number 16, Final Fantasy 16. So number 1, number 2, number 7, number 3, number 16. Got it.
Okay, you got it. Okay, you played that at 1.5 speed. I was surprised by that. I don't know how you did that in real time, but yeah.
Well, wait till you listen to that at 1.5 speed. Mark's gonna sound like a meth head again.
Yeah, we go for 100. We got 200 on the back.
I was like, I don't know what just happened, but I think I just sold my child to Mark. I don't know. Oh, jeez.
And got a couch somehow.
Yeah, we got a nice couch. It's used. There's some Plutarch stains on it, but that's from me. It's my fault. I patted him. Oh my gosh, Shiny, hope you're doing well. Hope everyone in chat's enjoying the show too. Yeah, so then good transition point because we talked about all the other great games coming out besides Tears of the Kingdom. Diablo 4. I know we talked about it with you. Diablo 4, I've put a lot of time in. I'm a level 37 barbarian. I just beat Act 1 on Tier 2 veteran mode, and it's starting to get the hang of my build. It's optimized well, but this is an article from VGC. I called you and told you this news early in the week. Again, from VGC, written by Tom Ivan. We've heard that name a lot. But Diablo 4 is Blizzard's fastest selling game ever. And on top of that, it's already been played for 93 million hours during its 4-day early access period. So before it even launched to everyone, only the idiots that paid the extra money, like me, it's already it's already got 93 million hours. And so the game is based on the game's pre-launch unit sales only, which came in at a record levels on both console and PC. So this isn't even the 3-day after launch. This is pre-launch numbers. The game was officially released today, January 6th. That's when this article came out. But players who bought the Deluxe or Ultimate Edition were granted early access June 1st. So while Blizzard didn't reveal specific sale figures for the title, it said over 93 million hours of playtime, or over 10,000 years, was recorded during this early access period. And I leave it at that. Alex, if you like Diablo 3, I could see you eventually liking this game. Not going to pressure you. I know we talked about it. But Diablo 4 is everything I liked about Diablo 2 and 3. It's very dark. It's telling a very, story about what evil is and what, what we need to do to overcome it. And it's also like at times making me a bit scared. But then I get to be a barbarian and smash things. And I love it.
That's all you call me up every week. You just say you wish you could do more in real life.
Yeah, I want to just become a barbarian in real life and destroy civilization. That's me.
No, I've heard nothing but great things. Even in the communities on online and stuff, they just are happy with like. There's nothing really to complain about other than like the servers having a little bit issues, um, but no, that seems like something that if I blow through Final Fantasy 16 and I need something to hold me over until this fall, then Diablo 4 can eat that up.
Yeah, and the thing about this game too is that, like, Blizzard and Activision's basically, well, the Blizzard team has basically said, hey, this is a game that's just like Diablo 3. They got seasons. They're like, this is a game that's gonna get, you could see in the map where they would put the DLCs and where they're just gonna add to it and add to it and add to it. And that's how Diablo 3 was on the PlayStation 4. Like, I finally played it after the DLC. And yeah, it's talking about some server issues. There was some server issues the night of January 6th or 7th for like a handful of hours there, which was a bummer. There's a story of, so there's the hardcore mode in this game, which is permadeath, right? You get that after you beat the game on the hardest difficulty. And there was a guy that's been playing since as early as you could possibly play on hardcore mode, about to beat the game with a maxed out level character. Permadeath again, you die, your character's gone, you start over. And the server issue happened, and he lost his character because of the server issue. Now that sucks, let's be honest. But also, the smile is not because I'm mad. Like, I think there's something.
So he already beat the game once and was playing it through a second time.
If not once, twice or more. He was playing it through it another time on a new character, permadeath. And he was level 100. Like, this guy put in, he might be 90,000 of those hours. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. 90,000 of the 10,000 years.
Yeah. It was that guy. So that sucks, but it's also mildly amusing. Like, I was listening to Vinny Carabella's new podcast about it, and he was just like, yeah, that's a bummer, but also like
a wake-up call. You need an intervention.
Yeah. Unless this is your job and you're making loads of money doing this article is all the publicity you're gonna get from it. So yeah, but yeah, it's really good, and I think that it's probably a game I'll have in my rotation for a while, because I've played Diablo 3 on my Switch, on my PlayStation, on my PC, just multiple times. I would start a new season, play with a new character, and just kind of enjoy it. And I think once Diablo 4 starts to get to that route, like I started a clan in the Discord. We're all barbarians right now, just so you know. We're all barbarians. Yeah, we're all Oonga Boonga. It's a blast. So yeah, it'd be cool if you get to play, if you have the time. That'd be fun. It would definitely be nice to take you through it, because you took me through Diablo 3 my first time. So yeah. Anyways, one little interesting news article I want to share, then we could call it quits, because you gotta go to bed early, Mr. I spent 18 hours at a anime Naruto Music Fest. I'm sorry, no, let me correct myself. Electronic progressive house music. Progressive house music.
Yeah.
All right. Whatever. I joined at a perfect time. Hands might help you're doing well. Which anime fest was he at? It was a dubstep fest. So anime dub anime. everyone's doing it. Alex went to an Naruto symphony. All right.
No one didn't.
No, it was house music. If you listen to last week's episode, chat, you'll hear us talking about the progressive house music festivals he was going to. Yeah, Crypto and Feather Playman.
Oh, they're all coming at me now. It's time for me to go.
They like the stickers on your wall. Oh, this is great. There's some pretty nifty house music. Yeah, see, they'll be generous to you. They're lovely people. But yeah, this last news article, I don't know how to feel about it. There's a part of me that's terrified, but there's a part of me that says this could be good, but who knows?
Which one are you gonna touch?
Cairo says
three questionable things here.
Cairo says, not even being nice, I like EDM. And then Might said, I love Dragon Ball. So
they're being nice.
Yeah. See, I always tease them every week there, buddies. And I say, yeah, you got some nice Naruto stickers there. And then I call his progressive house music dubstep, and it's like razor blades to him. I love Dragon Ball as well. It's very much the truth. But okay, so this is VGC. Article again by Tom Ivan. I'm going to utter these words. We all knew what was going to happen. I am just afraid of what this could look like.
How did they mess this up? Look at the success of Sonic and Uh,
Mario.
crap, Super Mario.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're gonna build it up towards Super Smash Brothers, they gotta. I'd be more worried about a Kirby movie than what you're about to talk about.
Kirby movie, I think I would be okay with, because Kirby Right Back at You was like a decent anime. It was a good cartoon back in the 2000s. So Nintendo is reportedly close to striking a deal with Universal for a Zelda movie. A film reporter claims Zelda is looking like the next big Illumination Nintendo franchise. That's according to film reporter Jeff Schneider, who told the Hot Mic podcast he'd been informed by a, quote, great source that Nintendo is close to striking a deal with Universal for a Zelda movie. This is him speaking. From what I've been told, getting close to official. I'm told that Universal is in fact closing a, quote, big deal with the Nintendo Corporation for The Legend of Zelda. Zelda is looking like the next big Illumination Nintendo franchise, which again, I think we were all sort of expecting, but I'm told that this is happening and it's costing Universal a pretty penny because of the success of Super Mario. And like that fact, Nintendo's like, yo, this was really successful. You got to pay us a lot if you want it. Like Nintendo kind of knows it's worth it at this point, but yeah, I'm told that this is now going to be a reality. The article continues. A co-production between Illumination and Nintendo, the Super Mario Bros. Movie has generated over $1.3 billion, becoming the second highest grossing film of all time. It's the biggest film of 2023 to date, ahead of Guardians Volume 3, which launched a month after Mario and only grossed $786 million. That's still a lot.
Only.
Yeah. I added that part because I'm a Mario stan. The movie also recently became the second highest grossing animated film ever, trailing only Disney's Frozen 2. And it's coming out on DVD this Tuesday, June 13th in the US and Canada. Alex, a Mario movie fits to me with the humor that Illumination can produce. Zelda's dark. I mean, there's humor in it, but it's a dark, it could be a dark series.
You are right. I didn't think about that. I just thought, what they were capable. If they were able to make Mario look cool, especially in that last final sequence, then they can make Zelda look cool. But you are right. The humor is a little bit.
Well, and there's definitely.
That's just like Marvel. That's just like the MCU taking any. Wait, do they really only have? That's like Marvel taking any tragic story in the Marvel comics and then turn it into a bunch of quips and stuff. It's the same thing. Like, it's something to worry about.
Yeah. So like, I want to paraphrase what I just said. Zelda is dark for Nintendo. I would say Metroid, specifically Metroid Dread, might be the darkest Nintendo thing out there. There are definitely humorous points and colorful points and all that through Zelda, but like the last two Zelda games, like things are bad, But there's like, if you pull from Ocarina, Wind Waker, if you got Tingle in there, green guy in spandex is just Charlie from It's Always Sunny screaming Green Man. If you got hands coming out of toilets asking for toilet paper, like there's some humorous weird stuff that I really think is Zelda. But like this is the part of my imagination where it's like I don't see it. I don't like. It's hard for me to imagine. I'm not saying it can happen. I believe it can. I love the Mario movie. I will say this, as much as I thought it was a good movie, I think Nintendo kind of played it safe naturally because this was the first thing like coming out the door. It was a very normal Mario movie. It was again, loved it. DVD's coming to my house on Tuesday. I think it's great video game movie. But I feel like Zelda is such a, I don't know, like in your mind, like do they make Link talk? Do they, what do they do to make this work? Alex, what do you think?
I don't know. I think if they approach even Ocarina, I don't know. How can you make temples interesting?
I think so. Indiana
Because
Jones.
most of that stuff is you figuring it out, It's not just Link looking around and then like missing the jump 3 times and then like trying to put something somewhere and misses that up. But yeah, figuring out puzzles and stuff, that's the temples, it's part of the game, it's something, but I don't know how cinematic that is. But the fighting would be great, like having Ganon in it, Ganondorf specifically.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We were all amazed with just the cinematics in Breath of the Wild and stuff in the story,
Yeah.
Even the Age of Calamity. Like I think
that was cool.
I feel like that had more cinematics in it.
Yeah, that had a lot of cinematics.
Story.
Exactly.
So
yeah, again, the humorous parts of the Mario movie fit in with the Mario world. Like
Yeah, a lot of them
Bowser
were
singing Peaches.
elbow, like nudge, nudge
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Just like inside comedy.
yeah. Like Bowser singing Peaches being goofy. That works. Like you can't. That works for Mario. And I'm not saying they're planning this, but you can't have Ganondorf sing a song about Zelda and call her like banana, banana, banana. Like I don't know. Maybe they're a mighty banana or something like that. But like, she's my rupee, she's my queen, or something like that. Oh no, I'm already writing this song. But yeah, so like again, I'm excited about this. Some comments in the chat here. I think they should make Link canonically mute. I think there's a part of me that thinks like if they made like there's something really artistic you could probably do with a animated Zelda film. Think like how sometimes Disney Pixar gets real. I don't want to say art house, but they get more. You know, they can get pretty emotional with their animation, and I think you want to convey a
You
lot
talking
of.
about Pixar?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Because I'm looking at like all of Illumination's movies, and it's just like every single one of them were just kids comedy, which did translate into Super Mario's. Like I did feel like I was watching a kids movie in there. This wasn't like
It's
there
supposed to be.
was some like yeah, I know it was, but it's
Yeah.
just like there was a lot of like references in there for the people that have been with this franchise for 30 to 40 years. Easter eggs and stuff. But yeah, it was 100% the same humor as those other ones. But yeah, I don't see Zelda having that unless they have like Beetle pop up every 5 minutes.
Or Navi. Hey,
Um,
listen.
yeah,
And just Link slapping it or something like that.
yeah,
I might laugh at
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, some other comments from Might. Minish Cap was probably the most child friendly, but this is a good point here to like talk about the dark tone. Link to the Past was my first one, and seeing his uncle die in the sewer after giving him the sword and shield gave me chills. Like, yeah, the first like 30-40 minutes of that game, if you progress quickly enough, you have death. Like death is a prominent feature of the Zelda franchise. Link's Awakening is still like this weird what's hallucinogenic fever dream Zelda game that always gives me chills at the end because it makes me sad that it's not what it seems.
You got Majora's Mask, where it's like, hey, the world's gonna end. Let's play a game. It's everything's about
Yeah.
death.
Hey, the world's gonna end. Get these masks for this one guy. He's really happy. In fact, he's the happy mask guy. You need to do it.
Yeah.
Aliens are abducting cows, and there's a Yeti on the loose. But hey, the moon's crashing as well. So yeah, I just like, and especially with how the Zelda franchise and timeline works, like you can make references to species and certain items and weapons, I'm sure. Like I imagine this movie will have a heavy focus naturally, and as it should, on the Master Sword, getting the Master Sword and Ganon, right? Very, very boilerplate examples right there. But yeah, I don't know. So there was an article too, just from Chris Pratt saying like Mario 2 is in the works, it's going to happen. But the writer strike takes precedent. So, does this come out before Mario 2? After? I would say probably before. Who knows though? I'm curious.
I would say, with the writer's strike, everything could be put on hold and kind of lined up at the same time. But I would have assumed after.
Yeah, Deadpool.
Because at least with Mario, they have the assets already.
Yeah, and they probably started a script already too. I would think
that would have been the first thing to put on hold.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I mean, just given where the first movie was at, and I'm sure there's writers already working on like ideas for the second movie, But yeah, that's definitely put on hold for sure. Unless Ryan Reynolds is writing it. Did you hear that Ryan Reynolds isn't allowed to ad lib because of the writer strike? What?
Yeah,
Explain this to me.
No, I think he's allowed to ad lib, but he can't write it down. You can't literally change the script.
Okay, see, I thought it was something like because of the strike, there's something in the contract that existing that prevents him from ad libbing. He has to read the script.
It becomes part of the permanent script.
So if he ad libs and they use it, is it part of the permanent script?
No, because like you could see improvising, like even on like a Wolf of Wall Street, you can see like the original script and how they improvise during, but it's not the script is still there, but improvisation. But I think it's just like I think it was like a clickbait headline, like to make you think exactly that. But no, it literally means they can't rewrite if they come up with different ideas.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. But I do think, like, I would almost say postpone the movie, please. if it mattered.
Yeah.
Yeah, like because that movie with again, what's the actor's name that plays Wolverine? Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman, yeah. The Greatest Showman.
No, that's the other guy. He was in that movie with the magician.
Prestige.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was that?
That was Christian. That was Batman.
That was Batman. Okay, Michael Keaton. Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's hope it's a good movie, Zelda. Like I'm excited. And
You'll be there.
Oh, I will be there 3 days beforehand, dressed up in a tunic with a beard. Let's be honest.
With a Bokoblin helmet.
I'll have your child with me, and I'll be like, "Listen, little Mark, we're gonna go."
Little Mark. What's my name?
I don't care. We're gonna go watch this movie. Oh gosh, that's scary. Anyways, Alex, this was a fun little thing. I think does next Friday work for you as a return to norm?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm going to a 9-hour concert next Saturday, but I can do it Friday.
What kind of concert is it?
It's called This Never Happened, and I'm not joking. They do tape your phone so you can't film it because they're trying to make people like stop doing that. But this is specifically a band that not a band, not a house artist. Well, it's kind of more melodic house. Not my cup of tea, but I'm going for my friends because they really like them and they just wanted me to go. But the artist's name is Lane 8, and it's from noon until 9 at the Midway. That is Saturday.
Progressive house music?
Melodic house.
Oh my gosh. Just call it house music.
That's no. House music's even a little bit simpler and a little funkier and has a little bit more like bassy and funk to it, like 70s kind of stuff. But progressive house builds. Melodic house has a lot more harmony and vocals in it and stuff. Doesn't really have to build and drop and all that stuff. But that's why I don't like it as much. It's a little bit more floaty,
I'm not laughing at your description. I'm laughing because I have the notification still on for Twitch, and someone just used the loud Italian alert. So I heard it.
Oh, and it didn't work.
No, it worked.
Oh, you heard it?
Yeah, it's gonna go on someone's gonna be driving their car listening to this podcast at the end there, and they're gonna go, what? Because that's gonna come out of nowhere.
Actually, you can hear it on the recording.
Actually, you know what? I don't think you guys could hear it. Could you guys hear it? Because I do have desktop. Oh yeah, okay. Sorry, I heard it on my end, but I have desktop audio off. So I'm sorry, Chilling Ghost, I will refund you. Yeah, we're trying to have those off right now with the podcast recording. But yeah, it scared the heck out of me because I saw it coming and then I was just like, oh my gosh. But yeah, I'll refund you, Chilling Ghost.
We got some game bites, movie bites, and music bites this week. Maybe once I stop going to concerts, it's never. We'll stop talking about music, but
yeah. But yeah, Chilling Ghost here was wondering what it did. He's
gonna double down. He's just gonna double down.
They didn't do it, but definitely check out next stream. It will be back, and it's a very hilarious soundbite regarding someone yelling. So I think you'll like it. Yeah, this was a good episode.
Do it for the Mario. He probably thought it was a Mario related thing.
Yeah, Mario yelling at Luigi, "Give me back my pizza pie." Mamma mia.
Louder.
Thank you for the follow, Chilling Ghost. Again, this is Game Bites Podcast, episode 30. This is our 30th episode together. You know that? Not together, but our 30th episode ever of Game Bites.
I don't think we're gonna make it to 52 by November.
All right. This was an exciting time. Again, you can find us on YouTube, on Twitch, on Kick. We do it live as well on Twitter, all those sites. And we also will have the VOD up on YouTube as well as the podcast. Hopefully by tomorrow morning, live on Apple and Spotify as well. Game Bites. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Alex, do you want to sign us off, my friend?
I just noticed January 20th is a Saturday in January, so we might have a podcast like the day before, or I might be rushing there that night. So that's kind of cool. I just thought
the
20th was like a Friday.
Yeah, if that baby's born on the Friday, we're having it in the room. I don't care. So just let Joy know.
You guys got my mask on. I'll be like, guys, yeah, they told me to keep it down.
What's that?
Do you guys keep it down too? We're trying to do a podcast.
Yeah. What's that, Joy? What's that? What? Oh, you're doing great, honey. Anyway, so the new Zelda movie is looking great.
What was the game I was playing? No, quiet down. What was the game I was playing last week?
Yeah, get the OBGYN there. Get their inputs on how they feel about the new Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I top OBGYN input. I love it. I love it.
Can we get a name, please? I'm sorry, we were talking about Erythro over here. Aerith? No.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, thank you, Alex. Thanks for joining me. Sign us off, please.
The weather's been weird, but regardless, stay warm, stay cool, stay full, everyone, and have a great weekend. Weekend.
Yeah,
We'll
thank
see
you for
tomorrow.
that. God bless. Love you all. You're all beautiful people. Chilling Ghost, please come back. You'll get those notifications live next time. Everyone have a fantastic Sunday night. And as always, it's never been a better time to be a gamer. Adios.